Hi everyone, welcome to this new video. In today's video, we're gonna keep working with the model registry. So in the previous video, I showed you how to register a model using the UI, the user interface. In this video, we're going to start to work with the Python SDK or the MLflow SDK. Now, there is another method, or there are, let's say, a couple of methods that we can explore when it comes to creating or registering a model in the registry using the SDK. The first one is using directly the login functions. So in this example here, I am creating an instance of this random forest classifier and then using Sankinen flavor to log the model. Now, there is a parameter within this method, log model, that we can provide to register the model. And that's basically the name of the model, this one, registered model name. So I'm going to run this cell and show you that this particular method or log model will register the model and create the first version of the model. So the name is register model SDK. So I'm going to go to the interface right now. And here we can see a new run, right? Register model providing name. If I go to artifacts, we can see that we have this model, the random forest classifier that we just trained. And here we can see that there is a version associated to this run. So if I go here, I can see the version, right? Or let's say if I go to register model SDK, we can see that this model contains one version, right? Which is associated to the run that we just created in the notebook. So that's the first method that we can, let's say, use to register a model in the model registry. Let me go back to the notebook. So here, if we provide this parameter register model name, MLflow will automatically create the model and register a new version. If I run this again, right, I'm going to create a new run, and MLflow will create, in this case, a new version because the model already exists, right? So let me go back to the interface. And now, if I go to register model SDK, we can notice that there are two versions now, which are coming from the two runs that we created before in the notebook. So let me go back to the notebook and let's explore more about the Python SDK. So the other mechanism that we can use to register a model is using the MLflow client, right? In this case, I can use the method create registered model. I have the name, I had to provide the name, and the description and tags are optional parameters. Now, the requirement here is that the name that we are providing to register the model has to be unique, right? For example, let's say that I want to use this name. As you know, this model already exists in the model registry. So let me try to do a small experiment. And now here, I'm going to provide this name to register the model. So here, okay, there is an error associated to this line but if I run this, we can see the exception, register model, this one already exists, right? So that's the requirement. We need to provide a model name that is unique in the backend store, right? For example, this one, registered model via client. This model doesn't exist in the registry, not yet. So I'm going to use this method to register the model. Okay, the model was registered and I got this variable. I get the result in this variable from which I can get the name, description that I didn't provide, the creation timestamp, tags that I didn't provide, and aliases that I don't have. And that's why you can see these entity dictionaries. Now let me show you this in the interface. If I go to the registry and go to models, here we can see that we have this registered model via client, but we don't have any versions, right? So let's see how we can attach a version. So for this, we need to use the method create model version. right? I mean, to specifically create a model version. So in this case, we need to provide the name, the source. These are like mandatory parameters. Then the run ID, tags, run link, or description. Those are those are optional parameters basically. So here, I'm going to create a new version. The model name is going to be the name that I used here, which means that I'm going to create a version under this particular model. Now this source, this is basically the location of the artifacts for this particular model, and I am using the artifacts of this one, right? Here I generated this run, which means that I can access the artifact URI from here, right? So under this location, we can find all the artifacts associated to this particular model, right? And that's basically what I'm doing here. And now in the run ID, basically the ID associated to this particular model. And here we are providing the description. Now, I am capturing the result of this operation in this variable called model version, from which we can access multiple, let's say, attributes like the version, the status, description, creation timestamp, the source, run ID, and the status message. So let me run this cell. Okay, and we can see that all the metadata was printed. We have the version 1, ready, model version created using MLflow client. This is the description, the creation timestamp, the source, run ID, etc. Now let me show you this in the interface. Okay, now we have a version for this particular model, register model via client. Now if I go to this version, right, we can see that, well, in this case, we only provided the description of this version, but here I can go to the source run, right, and see all the metadata associated to this particular model, right? So we have here this model now is associated to these two models in the register, right? If I go to experiments, I have this, let's say, information, and we can see that the models that are associated to this run are two, right? So we have this register model SDK, and this is the model that we registered in the previous video, and then we have this +1, right? Here we can see that there is another model, register model via client. So in short, we can have like multiple models, right, associated to a single run. That's what this is trying to say, basically. You probably don't want to do this during, let's say, actual production development, because that would be like confusing. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching it, and see you next time.